You can do all the shadow work, all the astrology shadow work. You can know yourself so deeply and still not embody the healed version of yourself. Hello, welcome back. My name is Katerina and I am your shadow guide. I am the oracle of your sacred descent. I help you get into the deep crevices of your cave, to the depths of your soul, so you can know yourself so deeply and walk into your path of alignment, your soul-led path. I've spoken on here before about not acting as her, even though I know all my wounds. I know what I am meant to heal. I know where it stems from. I know how deep it goes. But I still wasn't acting as the healed version of myself. I still wasn't making decisions based on the healing of the wounds that I knew. I was still acting from a place of trauma. And the best example I have with this was to do with money. I knew my relationship with money. I knew where it came from. I had deciphered my complete natal chart and understood where things come from and the wounds of that and the healing of that. I knew absolutely everything when it came to my relationship with money. And even though I had done the work, I did the shadow work, I understood myself so deeply, my life wasn't changing. My bank account was not changing. I had lived, the inconsistency of having in and out finances throughout my whole 20s and the beginning parts of my 30s. I had lived all of that and I was just like, why? Why? And after a bit, after more reflecting, and I realized I am not acting as her. I am scared to give. I am scared to buy things because I thought I wouldn't get it back. I was waiting for evidence before I actually started to act as her. And this wasn't just a physical thing, as in just spending. It was a whole body thing. It was like a visceral reaction when I felt like I needed to spend. I thought in my body, went so tense and I felt so sick at the thought of spending a lot of money because I was so scared it wouldn't come back to me. Now, all of this is to do with safety and trust. All of that is very eighth house energy. On top of that, I had real life experiences of inconsistency. And what I've realized throughout my work is that actually all of that was because I didn't feel safe receiving. I didn't trust the unknown and I didn't feel safe receiving it. Whatever it may be, I rejected it. And there came a point where I felt really good within myself. I felt really good within my space, but the bank account wasn't changing. And I felt like I was still struggling in that framework, which was, oh, maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I'm not someone who gets unlimited amounts of money. Maybe I'm someone who doesn't receive easily. All those demons started to come back again because I wasn't getting evidence. The reason I wasn't getting evidence is because I was waiting. Again, we spoke about this in a different video, but it's something that I deeply realize is stopping a lot of us We have maybe done the work. Maybe you've done the work by yourself and you've been so brave and you've answered a lot of your trauma and you've realized where things have come from and you know yourself so deeply, yet your life isn't changing and you feel like you're in limbo. You feel like you're stuck in this waiting phase. But let me tell you something, you are the reason you are waiting. The universe will act on frequency. So you being scared to invest in something that is aligned with you, you being worried about speaking your truth, your worry about stepping in the front and starting your business, all of that is waiting. All of that is that energy that the universe matches. You're waiting, I'm going to keep you waiting. And the thing is with money, the thing is with abundance, is like you can't, you have to know why you do certain things. So, for instance, do you spend all your money, but you don't like spending on things that you actually feel like you need or that you truly desire? Maybe you do a lot of online shopping, been there. Maybe you do spend a lot of online shopping and you've realized after about 4 months that you probably maybe spent about £800 on loads of different bits. It could be a £50 shop, and then it could be a £20 shop, and then suddenly you're going on holiday or going out and you want to try lots of different outfits on. And obviously some of those things you're returning, but still you've wasted all that money. And then you look back and you're thinking, why did I do that? I've just spent £800 on clothes when I knew I wanted to go to that retreat, which is £1,000. I knew I wanted to go on that. Why did I just do that? And that is sabotage. You don't feel like you don't feel like you're able to hold wealth, so you release it as soon as possible. You get rid of it and you are then again stuck at square one thinking, oh my goodness, I have no money. And it's a system, it's a way we deal with abundance and wealth, and we have to know why we do certain things, and then we have to know the habits of that certain thing, like how that trauma manifests, and then we need to know how we can heal it. And the healing part, the embodiment part, is the part that most people stop at. They stop before they get to that point because they don't actually know how to do it. There's so many people online saying, oh, act as her, but when your bank account isn't showing as her, how do you do that? Logically, how do you do that? And I have been there, I have been through all of those systems. And what I have realized for myself is that it is an energy, it is alignment. So I was spending money on things that just weren't aligned with me, but they fueled a trauma response. I didn't feel good about my body. Let me buy a lot of clothes that can hide my body to protect myself, to make myself feel safe, because I know I'm going out and I don't feel safe in the body that I have right now. So let me get something that is got sleeves on, that is flowing, that protects myself, because I might have something dangerous come up at me in the time. And I spoke about this last week about the trauma that I've had with random people coming onto the street and telling me that I'm fat and ugly. And I have had that. So my body's response is, you're going to have that again. Let's buy something to keep you safe. And the changing for me was that instead of buying things from a place of trauma, buying something from a place of healed, what would my most healed self wear? First of all, let's keep it simple, the clothes. What would my most healed self wear? What would the version of me, it doesn't matter what I look like, what is the version of me that loves herself? What would she wear? Wear something like that, or wear something as close to that as you feel comfortable with. in your transition phase. Do I want to do a course? Yeah, I did. So instead of spending money on all these little things that just like genuinely didn't actually change my life at all, didn't bring me joy, they were a desperation spend, I started to take away that desperation spending and spend on aligned things. So I signed up for a course. You sit with yourself and figure out, what does aligned spending look like for you? It can be so tiny. A book that you've wanted to read, a coffee mug that literally brings you so much joy and you love it, maybe a new moisturizer. I have 4 categories for my spending. I have rooted spending, which is things to keep me safe. I know that I've got bills coming out. I know that I need to re-up on products like skincare and things like that. And those things make my brain know that I'm safe. I'm safe to spend on the necessities. I'm safe to spend on the bills that are coming in that I have to like pay. I have that one, which just helps my root chakra to know that it's safe. Then I have joy spending. Joy spending is going out to a show, maybe going somewhere where it brings me so much joy, and in that moment it's like very much sacral energy. It's like, oh, this excites me, I really want to do that. I have that category. Then I have expansive spending, and expansive spending is, I know it's going to better me. I know it's going to bring me so much more things. That genuinely is where my Pluto is and where my Venus is. They both happen to be in Scorpio in the 9th house. So it's easier for me to be able to say, okay, that's where transformation lies. So that's expansive. That's where my magnetism lies. So that's expansive. So I spend on things like, for instance, a course, going back to school, books, trips, things that are to do with expansive energy. Is very much that you could just look at your 9th house if you wanted to and spend in accordance to that, depending on where what sign rules your 9th house. Again, like if you had Gemini ruling your 9th house, you might want to go to a lot of lectures, you might want to go to networking events, and that's kind of where you spend your money on. Maybe it's a public speaking course and you want to learn how to speak properly. That would be a way to spend an expansively. I do think about Venus within this. Pluto is just something that brings you transformation, and it helps you, like it's a catalyst to your next version of yourself, your next identity. So things within wherever your Pluto is, what house it's in, just gives you a key of like, okay, I'm going to have a lot of transformative experiences when I travel, when I learn deeply, when I expand on my spiritual practices. That is when I know things of transformation will come. So I purposely spend in those expansive things because I know I'll get to my most aligned self the more Pluto tests me. And I love that. You know, I said before, me and Pluto are one. I am its messenger. So I feel like I really love that energy. But you know, you could just fully look at your Venus sign, and that is your expansive. That is where you magnetize, it multiplies, and that is expansive energy. So look at where your Venus sign is, in which house it's in, and then look at what that house means and think, okay, how can I spend on that? What could I budget within that? I have those pockets of spending. And then I have one which I still have, and it's still there because sometimes I do desperation spend, which is that pocket. And I put in my finance tracker what is a desperation spend, and I put after it why, Where did it come from? Okay, now I know. I didn't feel good about myself before I went on holiday. Chiron was squaring the sun, and I didn't feel good about myself. So in that moment, I desperation spent. I bought a few outfits from various different shops. What did I do after that? I returned about 99% of them. And I know that, okay, that was a desperation spend. I have those pockets, I have those themes within my financial tracker because it helps me to know and to keep an eye on and to be really, really aligned with my spending. Because I know when I align spend, when I really am in that rooted, joyful, expansive spending, money multiplies for me. I know that is what I see. When I desperation spend, it doesn't. And the reason I'm speaking about this and the reason I'm talking about embodying your higher self, embodying the most healed version of yourself after you've done a lot of the work, is because you can so easily know everything and still act from a place of trauma. You can still act from a place that is not aligned. I used to think, but I do trust money because I'm spending. I'm spending a lot, and it was a trauma response. It was me not feeling safe enough to hold this money, not me feeling safe enough to trust that the universe will bring money back to me. So it was literally a sabotage, and I didn't really understand it. I didn't really understand why I did it, until I realized that actually, what are you going to do when you're in a relationship when you don't feel like they're going to stay? What do? You sabotage it before they've even given you a chance to prove that they are going to stay. You sabotage it. And it's the same thing with money, it's the same thing with most things in your life. You will sabotage the things that you don't feel safe enough with to trust. In my wealth rebirth, I have a whole course after all the shadow work that I put you through, all the depths of your soul that I put you through. I have a complete embodiment practice after that, and it keeps you daily tracking into that energy, making sure that you feel embodied and you feel aligned and you are acting from a place of alignment. My wealth rebirth course is linked below if you're interested in that. It puts you through a whole system, a complete deep transformation to align with your most healed, wealth, abundant self. And you don't need me. I said this before, you really don't need me to do this work. I did it myself. I didn't need the work that I put out there, but I created this because of the work that I did. I realized that this whole system that I accidentally created in my own healing actually is a great blueprint, and I wanted to give it to others to be able to help them heal themselves. But you can totally do this yourself. Just make sure that after you have done your healing, and obviously we're still constantly healing, it doesn't stop, but it becomes easier the more energy you've put into the deep wounds, the easier it is to carry those because they're not so heavy. And you'll be able to know why you do a lot of things from the deep core wounds. And you'll be like, okay, I'm doing this because I don't feel safe right now. Okay, how can I make you feel safe right now? And it's that narrative, it's that work that you do. But you've just got to make sure that after that work, or at least halfway through that work, you actively act in embodiment of her. Ask yourself, what is my most healed, aligned, wealthiest version of myself? What do they do on a daily basis? I trust you that, I say this because I've been there. My most healed, aligned, wealthy version of myself did not do what I thought I would do. I thought, when I was in the desperation spending, when I was in that desperation of feeling like my life wasn't good enough, I thought I would be doing this and that every single day, and I thought I would be spending lots of money every day, and I'd be able to spend whatever I wanted, and it was very much ego based. And when I started to do my own work for myself, when I started to really deeply look at my wounds, my day was like slow. I'd find joy in making coffee. I'd find joy in the sun reading a book. I'd find joy making my breakfast. I didn't do these crazy elaborate things which I thought I would be doing at that point. It was just purely existing. And when you exist in the emotion of joy, things do magnify in that. I didn't feel joy by looking on my phone and seeing what other people are doing with their lives. I found joy in sitting on my beanbag and the sun hitting my face and reading a book on Greek mythology. And there was actually a moment the other morning where I was doing exactly that. And I was sitting there and I paused and I went, wow, I'm so happy right now. And that sounds so wanky. And I know people are like, oh, are you really happy? But like, when you just find that peace, and things are still happening around the world, but it's inner peace. It's not looking the way that you might think. It's not looking the way you might think. Your joy might not be the way you think. So I want you to comment below and tell me what would be your pocket spending themes. Like I have rooted, what did I say they were? I have rooted, joyful and expansive, and then I have desperation spending. And I don't shame myself for desperation spending. I just try to figure out the cause of that desperation spending so I can do that less. And I can pause. So now whenever I have an event or something's coming up and I go to spend on clothes, I pause and I think, do I have clothes right now that I could wear? Is there something I could do? Could I put more jewelry on? Could I put something? Could I style it a bit better? How can I make this outfit that I already have make me feel good about myself, make me feel better about myself, rather than this desperation spending? So yeah, anyway, comment down below what your pockets would be. I'd love to get some more ideas for my finance tracker and figure out what other pockets would be cool. I feel like I need one more. I really love where I'm at with my spending and like how I track it, but I feel like I need one extra one of like, I don't know, give me some ideas. But anyway, and I feel like that is it. If you like what you see here and you feel that little fire in your belly and you're like, oh, I want to stick around and watch her and listen to her more, then feel free to subscribe. Remember, again, all my links are below: my wealth rebirth, the magnetic one, which is all about Venus and the second house, and my emails if you have any questions for me. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.